Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss notice writing and it's of 3 marks. So in your writing section, in the short compositions among 3 different ones, this is 1. And as I said, this is of 3 marks. Now if you have old books, you must remember this thing. In the old books, this one is given of 4 marks. But now from this year, the pattern has got changed, the allocation of marks has got changed, and now this will be of 3 marks. And how these marks are distributed or allocated, you can see here in this slide, the layout is of 1 mark, the content is of 1 mark, and this expression is also of 1 mark, right? So totally it's of 3 marks, and this way the marks are distributed. Layout means the box, and along with that the proper alignment that you do in this notice writing. So that comes in your layout and you get 1 mark for that. Content means what, when, where, why, the answer of all these that you write, that makes your content. And expression, that means your grammatical accuracy, spellings and all those things, that is expression, that will also be of 1 mark. So this is the way the 3 marks are allocated or distributed. Now let's come to the format. So here you can see this is the format of notice writing, and you already studied notice in your lower classes. I can say 9th and 10th you have already gone through, and those who have switched from ICSE to CBSE, so they perhaps don't know the format. So I'll tell you in detail that what is the format and how we have to write a notice, right? So see this, first we write the name of the institute. Okay. Then we write the address of institute. But here, though this is written in 2 lines, but we don't have to use 2 lines here. It's not compulsory or necessary. This can be in the same line here in the first one as well. For example, see if the name of the institute or the school, whatever it is, if it is suppose modern public school, then what you do, you put a comma after that. And after putting a comma, you write the place. For example, if it is Kota, then Kota. If it is Jaipur, then Jaipur. So we write it like that. So address part comes in the same line. But if it is a long one, say the name of the institute is also a long one. For example, it is something like Lady Anasuya Senior Secondary School, and then the address is also quite long. Then we need to use the second line. Otherwise, you don't have to use the second line, right? After that, we write notice. Now, after notice, in the same line, we can use date, right? And though here as I have written in the same line, it's not compulsory. You can write it below as well. After notice, you can use date in the second line. That can also be done. So no problem at all, right? Left or right, that too is not a problem. Then you give a title as per the given question, whatever is given to you. Accordingly, you give a suitable title to it. Then this title can be underlined, right? Now, this is not necessary. This is not compulsory. You can of course, we have to capitalize, and along with that, to highlight the thing, we can underline the title. And then message. Now, all these things up to, you can see this from name to title, all these things should be in block letters. That is quite important. So you must follow this pattern, that up to what? Up to this title, everything should be in block letters or capital letters. And then you have to follow one more thing. I'm writing that here, that is central alignment. So central alignment is to be followed, right? This is also quite important. So along with block letters and central alignment, there are some more important things which are to be followed. And I'll tell you one by one. See this message here. So message should be from flush left to flush right. That means you will put this all in a box. So that's what I'm trying to say, that a box is necessary. So in the box from here to that side, flush left to flush right, you will have to write the message. And after that, name, and after that, designation. Now these two things, as I have written here, you can see should be LHS, that means left hand side, and along with this you can put an initial here before this name. Here you can put an initial. Now, though it's not necessary, but yes, in general we do this. So simply if some name is given, so you just put a sign like thing or so that can be done. So it's all a part of notice writing. This is the format. But format is quite okay. You will find it anywhere in any book. But there are certain things that you must keep in your mind if you don't want to lose any mark, say even half mark in this. And what are those things? So you must remember what the three things must be there in your notice. What? 1, venue, 2, time, and 3, date. These three things must be there in your notice. These are quite important. If you don't use or if you don't write any of these three things, then your notice is totally useless. So to make the purpose, or say if we want this to serve a purpose, if we want our notice to serve a purpose, then these three things must be included, because in general what happens that students miss one of these things. For example, you wrote venue but you forgot to mention about time. You wrote about, mentioned the date but you forgot to mention about time. So in this case what happens that the purpose is not served and it becomes totally useless. So this is what this happens by mistake. So remember, don't commit a mistake by mistake, otherwise you will lose your mark, right? So these are quite important things. Now, apart from all these things, what you have to write in general, the other mistakes that happen by the students, that you start in capital but then you follow, because you are not in the habit of writing capital letters, so you start cursive writing and all that. So that should be kept in mind, that you don't use cursive or all that until what? Until the title. After that it's okay, there is no problem in this. Now there are certain things that how to start the notice. So I'll tell you how to start the notice. There are certain ways in which we start the notice, but before that, one more important thing that I would like to tell you is what I told you about mentioning a date here, right? So this is the other mistake that generally students do, that we write a date here and then we have to write one more date in the message. But there should be a gap of about 5 to 7 days between the two dates. Now if we miss that, then of course we are bungled and examiner can deduct our marks. So why this should be, and what happens actually, suppose you read the question on notice writing, and in that question it is given that Children's Day is to be celebrated in the school. So very carefully, first, these are the things quite common in all the notices. So you wrote the name, address and notice, and up to date you wrote all this. Now what date you mention here? Suppose your exam is on 1st of March, so you wrote 1st March here, and then you went on writing, and then you read the question. Up to this you wrote, then you read the question again, and then you thought, oh, Children's Day, this means it should be on 14th November, so I must mention some such date here. So what happens that here you wrote 1st March and here you are writing 14th November. So there is a big gap or big mismatch. So to avoid that, you must check it that whether you have done it wrongly or rightly, so that you can avoid or overcome if there is any such mistake that you have committed, right? Now, the other thing that I must bring your attention to is, as I said, generally what you do, we start it like this. This is to notify, or this is to inform. This is the way we generally begin a notice. So there is no problem. Okay, fine, we can begin like this. And there are other things as well, like the school has decided to organize, or say the committee, the cultural society, whatever it is as given in the question, has decided to organize or going to organize. This is what we do. So you can do in that manner as well. It's your choice, and no marks can be deducted because of these. All are correct ways of beginning. Now, the other thing, the force of habit is we generally do what? That this is to notify all the students. Now, you must pay attention here whether this is to be informed to all the students or only to some particular group. For example, say the notice is only for class 11th and 12th, and you write that all the students, this is to notify all the students, then that definitely is wrong. Because suppose the school is organizing some trip or some picnic and you are writing, okay, all the students, then all may come. So to avoid that, what you should do, you should write, this is to inform the students of class this, whatever or whom is to be addressed, whomsoever that is actually related to or concerned. So you must include that group only, not the whole group or the whole school, right? So that is one. Now, the other mistake is you write has organized or have organized or has been organized or have been organized. So this is the language used by some of the students, and that too is quite wrong, and or I must say outrightly wrong, and you must avoid this. Now why? That if you say has organized or have organized as per the question, as per the subject, if you write like that, then what does that mean? That the program has already been done. Means it's over, organized. So if it is so, then what is the purpose of writing this notice? It's utterly useful, utterly useless. So what it should be, we are going to organize, the school has decided to organize, it will be organized. So this is the type of language that we must use in it. Otherwise, this will be wrong and 100% your marks will be deducted. So you must understand this. And actually what happens is we don't pay attention. Because otherwise we know this. But what happens, we don't think in this way during your examination. You simply, whatever comes in flow in your mind, you just keep writing that and you don't pay attention that what you have written here. So now you must pay attention that these are the things, whatever I pointed out just now, these are the things where most of the students commit mistake, and so you must now pay attention and try to overcome these kinds of mistakes. Now, finally, one more thing here, and that is that if, say, you think that a lot is to be written, so I would say don't exceed the word limit. The word limit is what? 50 words. So stick to this. Just a bit more, we can say 60 words or so, okay, that can be accepted by the examiner. But if you clutter it up and you write 100 words or so that cannot be accepted. So what to do then? If you check that your written venue, your written time, your written date. So if all these three have been included, then okay, fine, everything is there. Now what? You do one thing for further details. What? Contact the undersigned. So that language can be included, that sentence can be included at the end, and that will do the job. Hence you won't have to worry. Important details have already been included. As I said, venue, time and date has been there. So that is okay. Apart from the thing, if whatever is given in the question, that is to be included, and you don't have to clutter it up with lots of things. So avoid that and simply write for further details, contact the undersigned, and the examiner will give you full marks, that is 3 out of 3 marks in this, not a half or even just quarter of your marks will be deducted, not at all. So it's all fine. Now, this was all about notice related to school. Okay, but there are some other types of notices as well. And what are those notices? I'll give you examples of notices, solved examples of notices as well in the further slides. But before that, I'm telling you just these things, that there are generally what school notices are asked in your exam. but say before last year something was different. So in such cases, what do we do? So I'll tell you that so that you'll be prepared about that and you won't commit any mistake. So suppose the notice, if not about school, it can be something related to a society, it can be something related to say public, means it can be a public notice, it can be a notice related to society. So what happens in public notice? In public notice, we seek help from public. We just notify something to public. Now, what it can be, for example, one of your friend is suffering from some problem, some disease or so, and you need help from public. That is some monetary or financial help. You need money. Suppose he is suffering from cancer and already has undergone some operations, and now doctor says one more such operation is required, and that would need around 5 lakh rupees or so, and the family is having financial crunch. So how to do that? So you appeal public, you request public to help with money. So that for that purpose you write a notice, and that is called public notice. And in such notices, what do? We simply at the top we write the word notice, because see, you don't have these two things there, right? I must clear the other things. So here what? You don't have any institute, so you don't have to write the name of the institute. You simply begin with notice. Then in the next line you write date, and then in the next line you write title and then message. So this is what we do in that kind of notices. And apart from these, you must include what? Address, phone number, and the account details, because otherwise how would people help? If somebody wants to help, so he needs that account number, he needs that phone number to contact and help. So you must remember the things that what are to be included. These are the things to be included in such kind of notices. Now, I said about society, something notice related to society. So in such cases, suppose for example, if some notice is to be given to the whole society, and say it is, for example, Gokuldham Society. So if it is about that, then what will you write? You'll write the name of the society, Gokuldham Society, the address as well, Goregaon, Powder Gully and all that. Okay. Then of course notice and date and all rest will be the same, right? Rest everything will be same. Suppose some program is going to be organized like Dandiya program or some other thing, that Navratri celebration or something like that they are going to organize. So accordingly a title will be given, and in the society it will be definitely some president or some secretary. So definitely here, as I mentioned, Gokuldham, so here you will mention the name of the secretary, Atmaram, Tukaram and all that. I think that you are well familiar of these things. So in the school, generally it is the principal, or say if certain society or club is organizing anything, so you are familiar with that as well. So that thing is to be written in the school notices. If it is about society, then you write the name of chairman or secretary or president. And if it is a public one, then there is no designation. Clear? There is no designation. You simply write the name of just a name and the phone number and the address that is to be given. Okay, so let's move on to the examples here and see. This is a solved one for you. You are Saurabh or Surabhi, the president of your school. Write a notice for the cultural programs to be held in your school. Give details of the date, venue, time and items to be held. So I think it's quite clear. The question is very simple. Cultural programs are to be held in your school. You are Saurabh or Surabhi. So the name of the school is not given. So what we are doing, just imaginary. We have to invent the details in such case if something is not given. So here we are writing the name of the school, ABC school. Then notice, of course. Then the date. This is the way we write. Okay, so here one thing that you should remember, you should avoid this thing. For example, November 2020. So this format is to be avoided. We don't follow this format in formal writing. So this is quite a formal thing. So in formal things, this is to be avoided and this must be used. Now, we do what? This can also be November 12 and then 2020. That can also be done and that is also correct and acceptable. There is no problem. Only this is to be avoided. So fine, the title as given here, cultural program. So we gave a title to this, cultural fiesta. You can underline this one. I said earlier as well, not compulsory, but yes, to highlight the thing, you can underline. And then we begin the information or the message. And what is that? The cultural committee of our school is organizing a cultural fiesta which will be held in our school premises on 25th November 2020 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So see this, cultural committee is organizing all this, right? And the program. Now you must notice this thing here, that here also I begin with what? Capital letter. Why? To highlight the thing that what I am talking of or what is the program to be held. To highlight that we begin this means the first letter of the words are capitals, right? Then where? So school premises, important. Then the date, that too is important. Then the time. These are the three important things. Now, after this what? We are inventing details, and that is several folk dances, folk music and regional programs will be presented on the occasion. So this is an invented detail and you should do this kind of thing just to make it, proper. And students are requested to register their names in the office. So this too is, we can say, accepted and allowed. And for more information, please contact the undersigned. So that's what I told you earlier, that if you think, yes, what else to be written or what more is to be written or there is a lot to be written, then you just don't bother about that. After mentioning the important details, you just include this and it will, conclude the job. It will do the job. You will get 3 out of 3 for this. So finally, name as given, Saurabh or Survi, right? Then president. So this is the way we write. Designation, then hyphen, and then what? Cultural committee, as you are associated with cultural committee. And earlier I told you that an initial. So as Saurabh is there, so you just put an initial here. This can be done. So this is the way we write. You might have seen on the school notice boards that they write just with an initial, they write this kind of thing. Okay, so this is, it means signatured by. So that is the purpose of this and you can do this. So this is the way to write a notice. I'll give you one more example here. See this, you are the secretary, cultural club of your school. The school is celebrating its annual cultural day on 24th December 2020. So it's not given. Okay, fine. Then, so write a notice informing the badge holders and house captains. So who are to be informed? Badge holders are to be informed. House captains are to be informed. Of what? A meeting you are going to conduct to take decisions on important matters regarding the conduct of the program. Now see, you must notice here, I pronounce this word in 2 different ways. One I said conduct and other I said conduct. So when it is a noun, we pronounce it as conduct. When it is a verb, we pronounce it as conduct. So that's the reason here I pronounced it differently. But generally it is avoided, but yes, as I am in the class telling you about the important things, so that's why I thought it important to tell you about this. So see this, XYZ school notice, then the date 5 December 2020, or as here we have put the cross marks, you can do that. Annual cultural day, that is what we are going to do. our school is going to celebrate its annual cultural day. Language is very simple, like you don't have to use any of your creativity and say no, any florid language or so, no need of that. Simple language and important information. These are to be included. So, okay, a meeting of all the badge holders and house captains will be held on 8th December to discuss matters regarding the conduct of the program for the annual day. So, as given here, we are simply repeated the information given in the question. So, that is what you have to do. You all are expected to attend the meeting without failure. So, fine, XYZ Secretary - Cultural Club. So, this is how we have to write. Now, I told you if it is not about school, then you will begin with notice, then date in the next line, then title. So, what happened in 2019, a question was given that you were strolling in the nearby garden, and while strolling during like you were on an evening walk, so while strolling you found a bag containing some cash and important documents. So, write a notice to be put on the notice board of the park and invent necessary details. So, in that case, definitely you will begin with notice, or you can mention the name of the park as well, or otherwise simply begin with notice, then date, and then title. So, this is how we write. Now, if you follow this, then you won't have to think even a minute in your exam what to write and how to write. Whatever question they may ask, you'll easily be able to answer that, and that too in a perfect manner. But of course, before that, you need to practice a bit, at least some 3-4 notices. If you read and practice, that will definitely help you a lot. So you won't miss even a half, a mark. So thank you. Now let's discuss invitation. This is also among the short compositions that you have, and this is also of 3 marks. And this will be asked separately in your exam. It means it won't be with notice or advertisement. This will be separately asked, and in option you will have invitation itself. Means one can be a reply, the other can be drafting an invitation. So this way it can be asked, but along with invitation, the other question that you will have, that too will be invitation. So that should be very much clear. So if you see last year's paper, then it is different. So don't be misled by what you see in the last year's paper or in some books or so. So you must be very much clear about the latest pattern. So the latest pattern is invitation with invitation. That will be of 3 marks. I'm not discussing about the allocation of marks because it is the same as I discussed in notice writing, and that will be followed. And I didn't discuss even that content expression in detail because that's no use. The limit is only 50 words. So before you think of all that, the notice or invitation is over. Moreover, there is totally the lines and sentences are all fixed. And we don't have even to think of any language or any such thing that what to write and think of. We don't have to think of expression or fluency or all those things. Even without thinking of that, we can complete this in a perfect manner. So I won't discuss all those things. I'll tell you about or I'll discuss those things in detail in long compositions, right? So invitations are of 2 types, formal and informal. Okay. Now, what is formal invitation? So as you can see here, formal invitations can be in 2 ways, one card format and other is letter format. So card format is the one that we have at our houses. So on different occasions, like whether it is wedding or birthday or inauguration of some shop or housewarming ceremony, so we get invitation cards. So that is quite usual and we are familiar with that. Then we have letters as well. That invitation letter can be there, or you can write a letter to invite somebody, and that is a bit unusual. We don't have that kind of customs generally. So Now, how to draft an invitation in the card format. So that is what I am discussing here, and I'll tell you about the other formats as well. So in the card format, first we write the name of the host. So what is the way? Mrs. and Mr. so and so. This is how we begin. Then we write some standard welcome expression like solicit your benign presence or request the pleasure of your company on the auspicious occasion. So this is the common language. I'll give you a solved example as well, so you don't have to bother that I'm speaking quite fluently about all this and you will miss. No, you won't miss anything. I'll give you an example with that language. Then we write the purpose of invitation, that what is the purpose, what is the occasion, whether it is wedding or something else. So that is to be written. If some name is to be given, then that name, venue, date, time, these are the things to be mentioned. Alignment is quite important. As you can see, everything is in central alignment. If the sentence is long, then we just place it bit here and then take it to that side as well. If it is longer, again the same kind of thing. So central alignment is to be followed, and that too quite strictly. It's a part of layout and you get marks for this. If you don't follow this, then definitely you'll miss the mark for your layout. Fine. And then this RSVP. So before this RSVP, I must tell you one or two more things. That is what you must use, what second and third person pronoun. Now, what is the second and third person pronoun and how to do this? I'll tell you in the solved example. Then RSVP, what does this mean, RSVP? So RSVP is respondez s'il vous plaît. Now this is a French expression and we have English translation for this, and that is reply if you please. So this is the English translation of that expression. It means, it's quite simple, that if somebody is unable to attend, somebody is unable to join, then what? Okay, we are giving you name and address and all the details, phone number even. So if you want to send something, if you want to wish or if you want to send some greeting or something, then okay, that will be gladly accepted. You are getting the point? So that is the purpose. So that's why we write this RSVP, and it's we can say default in all the invitation cards that we receive, that we have at our homes, right? Okay. Apart from this, no abbreviations. Of course, we use abbreviation here. RSVP is an abbreviation, but apart from this, no other abbreviation. It means you won't use abbreviation for day or month. It cannot be like this for Monday or Sat for Saturday. That is wrong. It should be full. Okay, Monday. If you are writing the month like November or December, so it should be full. It should not be like NOV or DEC in short for December. So that is wrong. So no abbreviation for days or months. That is to be avoided. So clear? Now what? Let's move, and I must tell you about this as well. With best wishes, near and dear. So in general, what happens? We write the name of the relatives, all the important family members and all. So here in this card, for 3 marks, you don't have to write all that. Just do what? With best wishes, near and dear, or you can do what? Friends and relatives. This can be done either near and dear or friends and relatives. So this is what we can do. Either of the two you can use. Now let's discuss this question here, The question is, Messrs. Shamlal and Sons are opening a new general store, Galaxy Novelties, in Geetanjali Enclave, Dwarika, Delhi. So this is for Messrs. Okay, actually this is a plural of Mr. And the inauguration ceremony is fixed for Sunday, the 19th of October. Okay, this year is given at 11 a.m. Prepare a draft of formal invitation for the purpose. So this is the question. Now see the solution here. Messrs. Shamlal and Sons solicit your benign presence at the inauguration ceremony. See the alignment. This language is all fixed. So you don't have to think of anything else. Just cram it. Just cram it and just paste it there. That is what you have to do. The name as per the question will have to be changed. So, okay, solicit your benign presence at the inauguration ceremony. So we highlighted this by putting capital letters, using capital letters of Galaxy Novelties. That too is highlighted. A general store in Geetanjali Enclave. Everything is given in the question. See, nothing is to be say invented or nothing is to be created by you. Just use whatever is given in the question. So, okay, then day, date, time, all from here. Finally, we wrote, because it is about inauguration of a shop, so we wrote visit for all kinds of grocery and domestic items. Avail 10% inaugural discount on all goods. So we just invented these two things as it is about inauguration ceremony. And this side RSVP Galaxy Novelties and just phone number is given. So this is what we do. In RSVP, what do we do generally if it is about say marriage, wedding or birthday or something like that. So what do? We write the name of the person, Mr. So and so, and then the address and then the phone number. So this is what do we do in such kind of things. Okay. So I mentioned about pronoun and other things. So I'll tell you in the next example about that. But before that, the important thing is put this in a box is quite necessary. Otherwise, you won't get 3 out of 3, right? So it's quite important that box is very much apart. Now see this one. This is again a next one. Your father, Mr. Binu George, residing at 5C16 Mahavir Nagar, Jaipur, wants to celebrate the success of your brother Monsi's clearing his NEET examination and securing admission in SMS Jaipur. So brother got selected in NEET examination and want to offer a party. He wants you to draft a formal invitation for him on his behalf. Okay, draft the invitation in not more than 50 words, usual things. Now see, Mrs. and Mr. Binu George. So this is the way we begin. Ladies always first, that has been the tradition, so don't break the tradition, just follow that. Mrs. and Mr. Binu George request the pleasure. No capital here, no capital here, no capital here, unless it is something important. As you can see, grand celebration party. So this is the occasion. So we capitalized it. Otherwise, we are not capitalizing the other things. You can see that very clearly. Okay. Then here it is plural, Mrs. and Mr. Binu George. That's why request. Now, if you make it request, you add an S to this, that will be wrong. So request the pleasure of your benign presence. I said second person pronoun, your benign presence. Okay, so that is, we are using second person on the auspicious occasion of the grand celebration party of their son. Third person pronoun. So that's what I meant. Second and third person pronoun is to be used in this. So don't be emotional or say very much sensitive and say, okay, how it can be their son, it should be my son or our, or it should be something like that. So see, I said don't be emotional. This is the way we draft because even the parents are being mentioned in third person. So that's why we use the third person pronoun here. That is the reason. Okay. So Monsi successful passing the national eligibility cum entrance test. Okay, we wrote the full form on Sunday, this 6 p.m. onwards. Very much simple. RSVP, Mr. So that's what I was telling you, that name of the person, the head of the family. address, phone number, and that side with best wishes near and dear. And we have put this in a box. So that is important. Now, you don't have to decorate this with some flowers or leaves or something like that. You don't have to include all the rituals and things that we do in, the wedding ceremonies or so. We don't have to do that. You just have to write this much. You can cram it. You just change the occasion as per the question, and 3 out of 3 is for sure. So I think that is very much clear. So let's move on to the next one. Here it is formal invitation, letter format. So I told you there are 2 types of formal invitations. One is letter format, the other is card format. So we just discussed about the card format one, that how to draft an invitation in the card one. Now this is the letter one, and this is quite simple. Just as we write a letter, we draft it. The only thing is we don't have to write in detail, only the important details as occasion, name and time and venue and date. These are the things to be included. Apart from these, we don't have to write in detail. So see the format: sender's address, date, receiver's address, subject, salutation, body and subscription, just as we, and all this in left alignment. You don't have to write anything this side and the right hand side, all is in left alignment. And simply what? After date leave a line, after address leave a line, after subject leave a line, after salutation leave a line, then body, and then for subscription leave a line. So this is what do we do. And letter is in simple way. The language is very simple. Only the details are to be included. For example, how do we write here? I'll give you an example. See this. The literary club of your school is going to perform the play Waiting for Godot. As secretary of the club, draft an invitation inviting the famous writer Sudesh Gupta to be the guest of honor at the function. So write the invitation in not more than 50 words. Your Govind or Gauri. So now this has been asked in All India 2014, right? XYZ School, Pratapnagar, Kota, date. Then Mr. Sudesh Gupta, this address, Kota, fine. Subject, invitation, and then hyphen and guest of honor. So this is the purpose, this is the subject. So just as we write a letter, we wrote this. Now here, sir, you can see left alignment, total left alignment. We are not writing anything there. Then the letter, the literary club of our school is going to present the play Waiting for Godot, was given in the question itself on 17 January, and this is in our school auditorium from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So details, there is nothing to be invented here, simple. On behalf of our club, I would like to extend a cordial invitation to you to be the guest of honor at the function. Okay, fine. We have extended the invitation. It would be a privilege if you consent to grace this occasion with your esteemed presence. So this is the language. You can see we are not writing in detail. We are simply mentioning the important details in just a formal language at the end, that it would be a privilege if you consent to grace the occasion with your esteemed presence. So you just cram it. If you don't know how to write, you just cram it, and that will make the task quite easy. Thank you, Gauri Secretary Literary Club. So this is the formal one, letter format. So the invitation, now if suppose it's not given in your question that you have to use the card format or letter format, because generally it is not so, it's not given. So you can choose on your own. If like this is something personal, you are extending an invitation to someone particular, so in that case, you can use the letter format, and if it is not for one, if it is for many, then you can use the card format. So that makes the task easy. A distinction has been made. I think it's clear. Now replies. So not just invitation, we have to learn how to write the replies as well. So here the replies, and that too in card, there are two ways, card format and letter format. So formal reply, draft a formal reply expressing your inability to attend the inauguration of the showroom regalia on Sunday, the 20th July. This is at 11 a.m. at B12 Rohini. Okay, so you won't be able to attend. That's what you have to say. You are Naveen Jain. This address is given. So how to draft? Mr. Naveen Jain has much pleasure in receiving the kind invitation of Mrs. and Mr. G.L. Bansal. Right? So you can cram this language. Mr. Naveen Jain, you are the one, has much pleasure in receiving the kind invitation. Who invited you? You included that as well to the inauguration of the showroom regalia. You highlighted this by using capital letters and bold ones. Date is given, but he regrets his inability to attend the function due to some unavoidable reasons. So we have not given the reason, but yes, we have written that we won't be or he won't be able to attend. He regrets that. And he has mentioned simply unavoidable reasons. As a reason is not given here as well, so you don't have to bother about that. You simply can use this language and then best wishes Naveen Jain. So, okay, and put this in a box. And this is over. So just 5-6 lines and the task is over and 3 out of 3. Now letter format. And simply in place of that, you will put this in the language of the letter. Just that format is simple as we already discussed. You are Akshay or Akriti. You have been invited to participate in a seminar on fundamental rights of children organized by the Lions Club of your district. Respond to the invitation by writing a letter to the secretary of the club. Fine. Okay, this is the date. This is address and all that. Subject, acceptance of invitation. So this is the subject. Then a big thanks, because this is a formal one. That's why we are writing the subject. In informal, there is an informal way as well. So in informal, what do? We don't use the subject. We don't use the receiver's address as well. So this is what do we do. Big thanks for your invitation to the seminar on fundamental rights of children and your concern for the underprivileged children. I would like to utilize. See, the question was, you have been invited to participate in this fundamental rights of children organized by Lions Club. So that's why you are writing this way, that a big thanks for this, your concern for underprivileged children. I would like to utilize this opportunity to share my experiences with other like-minded enthusiasts and experts. So I hereby confirm my participation. There are two things. Either what? You will go or you won't go. So if you go, I hereby confirm my participation. And if you won't go, I regret the inability to attend. So two types, two languages, that is what you have to cram, and that will make the task easy. Yours sincerely, Akshay, as the name is given. Don't write your name. Don't write your name. The name which is given in the question, because this is what the students do. They forget actually. They forget and just, force of habit. They write their own name. So you don't have to write your name. Use the name given in the question. Fine? So a simple thing, easy. Now informal invitation. So in informal invitations, it's again very much simple. Sender's address, date, salutation, body, subscription. Now I told you earlier what's the difference. We are avoiding subject. No need of what? These two things. Receiver's address and no need of subject. These two things are to be avoided. So that's the only difference. Other things are quite same. Okay. The language is simple. So this is what do we follow. Now see this invitation here. Rohit has got success in NEET. He wants to celebrate his admission to Shivaji Medical College, Nagpur by throwing a party to his friend. Write an informal invitation giving details. So if nothing is given, formal or informal, nothing is given, what you will do? You will write the formal one. If it is clearly mentioned that okay, do the informal only, then you will have to go for the informal one. Okay. So address, date, then dear Varun. Language is quite simple. You will be glad to learn that I have secured 80th rank in this. I've got admission in a prestigious institution, Shivaji College. I want to share a few happy moments of my life in the company of my friends at a dinner in the hotel this. And on the date we mentioned, please join the celebrations and merry making. Quite simple. You cram one. What I'm telling you that you just cram one on each pattern. One card format, one letter format, one informal, one reply. That's easy. That's simple. Okay. And another one. This is one more reply for you. You are Akash or Varsha. You've been invited to attend the wedding of your friend's sister during summer vacation. Respond to the invitation, regretting your inability to attend. Earlier we discussed one that you will be able to go, and so you can send your confirmation about that. Now here it is, you won't be able to go. So all that address, date and the things. Then thank you for your cordial invitation on the occasion of your sister's wedding. I, however, regret my inability to be with you on this happy occasion, as we shall be leaving for Shimla for summer holidays on this. Please excuse my absence. So what you have to learn, these are the things which are quite common. Cordial invitation. So thank you. This first line, the reason can be offered in your own way. And if the reason for not attending the function you want to mention, you can cram one. If something is to be invented, you can use this one and paste it there. Please excuse my absence, and then do convey my regards and best wishes to the couple. So of course a formal thing to be written at the end. Yours ever, Varsha. So this is the way we write. Okay, I think this one is very much clear now. So this is the pattern you have to follow to write an invitation. Just practice some 3-4 invitations, and that will make your task easier, will give you confidence that you'll be able to score full in this. Thank you.